Man, a big hey now. Hello, Fast Abdul. How are you?
Hey,
We're on
how's it going,
Sesame
Christian?
Street. It's doing pretty
Mm,
good, man. I named this one We Are Here for the Tech. We're here for your tech.
Right.
We're here for the tech. I see the
I
people
like the
piling
tech.
in. You guys coming in, go to the chat, drop something in you want to talk about. We're just going to, I think we're just going to wing it like usual. At least I'm winging it.
Yeah. Or just drop personal things in the chat, like secrets you wouldn't tell anyone else.
Yeah, but don't
Only
don't put
Christy can
don't
see
put
them.
seed phrases. No seed phrases.
No seed phrases. No. Yeah, no
No
seed
seed phrases.
phrases, no private keys. Just secrets, personal secrets.
Yeah, big shout out to Tam Tam. She's not in the chat, but that I can see. But she just wrapped up her Hexagon University. You attended that? You
Yeah, it
want to
was
tell
great.
people about it?
It was pretty awesome. I think she's doing it every Tuesday. I think it was 6 p.m. CST. And there was a lot of A-listers up top, myself included, of course. But RG3 was there, Kairos was there, Toby was there, Papa Boner was there, Pesky Girl, Tam Tam, of course. I know I'm missing some relatively big names in the ecosystem. So it was good. It was like everybody was a pro and they knew what they were talking about. And and the audience, of course, in Twitter you don't get the same audience response, but people stuck around, right? And it got bigger as time went on. So I thought it was a good thing. And it was like learning themed, which I think is important going into this segment of the market. There's going to be new people coming in. We need to start catering to that a little bit more. Which I have one pet peeve I want to pick, not with Temtem, but with some of the other pros in the chat. Is we need to stop using specialized terminology, right? EES, TVL, like any of that kind of stuff. We need to spell it out. Like start saying the words for the new people so they can follow
Hmm.
along a little bit better, even if the subject matter is complicated.
Yeah, this is a big subject that's been talked about a lot. I did a couple streams just today. Talking about the marketing and bringing people in, and so Tam. This is my understanding from Tam. What she's trying to do. She identified that it is problematic to get people to the right resources, and so therefore offering up a weekly spaces where new people might be able to connect with the right resources is the way to go. And so I 100% support that. The thing is with any of this stuff, right, not going to get it in front of everybody, and that means we got a lot of people that are going to be investigating PulseChain through this marketing, right? And they're going to be coming in at all sorts of entry points. And so then, like you said, you'll have to know your audience. Now, I'll give you an argument for why it's good just in general conversation. Like I try to do that sometimes. Like I'll try to remember explain exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Maddie did a good job of that. Maddie would do that a lot. He'd stop and say, "Well, yeah, well, hey, Fast, when you say TVL, what exactly does that mean?" And then make you spell it out and whatnot.
No,
And that
yeah,
that was that's a really good skill set that he exhibits, because I think for a lot of us it just passes by. But here's a different argument, man. This crypto thing that we're in DeFi is not a press a button and you're in. So
facts.
there's some safety in the idea that you got to do the research to participate, which brings you to learning all the things you need to learn, including the terminology. Now, probably not a great way to address that. It's still helpful to explain, in detail some things, but yeah, just thinking about how you keep people safe because onboarding also means a lot more of these troll like scammers dropping into DMs and giving people bad sites and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that's we getting out those initial security concerns is always going to be really important. But like having, like spelling things out for people, like even if we do use just plain English, there's still a huge learning curve, right? Like it's not going
Yeah.
to be like, oh, it's so simple. These guys talked about DeFi. I can you know, I could just start doing it right now. That's usually not true.
Yeah, and then plus on top of everything else, we use this pesky language mostly called English,
Most.
which is not super useful when the definitions of what you're saying change. You know, depending on the context. You know,
Yep.
you know what one person might say versus another. You know about
Or if you don't
any.
speak English, that could be tricky too.
Yeah, yeah, and I do yeah. I'm a typical American that didn't. Maybe I'm a typical American that didn't learn a whole lot of different languages, right? I can barely order a beer, right? Depending what country I'm in. But yeah, I mean there are a lot of non-English speakers, or maybe they do speak English, but it's not their primary language, that are also tuning in to these things. Hey, a shout out to Robert Brooker. Thank you. I think you're my #1 reposter of streams. I think I probably can
He's
find that.
also one of my #1 reposters of
You know,
streams.
I'm like, wow,
I
he got it.
noted
He
that.
got it. He nailed it again.
Yep,
Nailing it
he's
again.
on it.
Yeah. Trinity, I think this is a good comment here. The RH tickers, telegrams the groups worked amazingly during the sacrifice period. We need to clean up again and have organized support there. And RH needs to update their official social media accounts. Yeah. So shout out to all the admins that are out there. It's a pretty unique niche, and they're active, guys. Right now, they're still active. There's a good dozen admins that are out there every day protecting, at least in their view, right, protecting the chain and the community. Because man, there's like, I don't know, probably an hour doesn't go by that some scam isn't posted, and they're out scrubbing and cleaning and doing that work. The rest of it, yeah, as you say, the rest of the things, RH controls a lot of the certain things that go on, like nobody that I know of other than he can change the website or have the website changed. And there's certain accounts and setups, same thing. I mean, it's outside of the admin's control. So they do the best they can with bots and Telegram bots and automated answers. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of those folks.
It's a lot of work, and it's like none of them are getting paid, right?
Yeah,
So they
that's the
burn
truth.
burn out, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like you're working for free for something that you believe in, and there's a lot of pressure, and people are not always nice to you. So I would recommend being nice to the admins.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's something to keep in mind for people. As you're interacting, it's easy to kind of like fall into super Karen customer mode and be like, you guys need to be doing this better, and you need to be doing that better, and you need to give me my answers faster. And it's just not like that, man. It's just not like that. So, I mean,
Nope.
they're not
Yeah, it's
paid. They're
volunteers, right? Like
volunteer
concerned
because they love
citizens
it. Yeah, and
helping you
so
out.
yeah, yeah. Now, every once in a while, I'll get one of those messages. They'll come in and say, "Paid, paid Telegram moderation." I'm like, "Wait a minute, you can get paid for that?" And actually, it's a job. If
Yeah, yeah,
you're in
yeah,
some sort of
supposedly.
revenue generating situation where that's possible, but alas, that is not what you see in our chats. What you're seeing in our chats, the main chats, is volunteerism. Hey, shout out to Moonmut. Moonmut. Shout out to you.
What's
Uh,
going on, man?
yeah, he's talking about the. I'll be on the etch and sketch and sniper, or an
Etch and
etch and
sketching.
well, I
Or
think
etch and
like a
scratching.
little bit of
How
play
did
on
Ivan say it? Etch and scratcher or something like that.
kitchen. Yeah, but thank you for that super chat. Hey Lee, good question, dude. Now I always scratch my head when certain things happen, and not calling conspiracy, but I cannot get to certain data right at the moment. So I can't even tell you, unless I go the long way around, um, exactly what might be happening with quote unquote mass EESs due to 10-year Genesis stakes. Could be something going on there, could not be, don't know. I haven't seen it. But yeah, I'm just telling you, I have been having trouble for the last 3 days pulling complete data, And so I don't know. But up until that point, I have not seen capitulation of the 10-year Genesis stakes. Now, what are we talking about when we say, these 10-year Genesis stakes? Well, HEX launched in 2019, and presumably some people made 10-year stakes all the way from the beginning of launch through Big Payday. And we're coming up now on the 10-year anniversary of Big Payday. Now, of course, people, it's not 10 years, right? 5-year, right? Big Payday, 5 years. So we're coming up on the anniversary of the 5 years for the Big Payday. And now, of course, there are people that made stakes after that, but when we talk about Genesis stakes, we mean those stakes that had the Big Payday bonuses incorporated in them. Now, why is this significant? Well, pretty much this whole big population of stakes, which were made and slated to end between 2029, end of 29, and the beginning of 30, right? They are at the 50% mark, which means they can get their principal back, maybe. It always depends, you always get a little look, but they can get their principal back by emergency end staking. And so that's been a big topic that we've talked about, but I haven't seen capitulation yet. So I don't think there's anything significant happening there right now. But if it was to happen, it would change the landscape in that it would make HEX even more scarce going into the future. Because I think the numbers on it were like something like if everybody emergency end stake, it would be something like 8 billion that would come out, and like 30 billion HEX would go to the presumably go to the OA, or most of it anyways. And that would be a big deal to shut those all down, because it would change. So if we had any significant change in that, it would change what people are getting for payouts from HEX, and it would change the whole dynamics, how much was minted. I mean, there's just so many little trails there, but we'll keep an eye on it later to see where that's going.
It's like the 10 years is just a number, right? Like, like people would have like I understand the concept of at that 50% point they can they can get their principal back, but like this would have been like this would have happened in 9 years and 9 years and 3 days, and like not everybody made set 10-year stakes exactly. They won't all be ending at the same time. Some people will have 11 years, 12 years, like it'll be staking ladders, right? So why would there be a large rush of people emergency end staking at this 10-year point? Why would that be a concern?
Well, primarily because I think a lot of people do understand that they get their principal back. And there are people that will make that decision. But there's the other side of it is that there's also this idea that a lot of these original stakes that were seeded out there are part of entities or groups that would be willing to pass that HEX back to the OA or the community at large,
I see.
And so there's some of that. It's, you and I have spoken about this though too, right? So
Yep.
the idea that might happen, and so then if we go take a look at what Lee's most recent comment is, do you think that's the reason why the OA staked Quattro Cinco, to absorb the inflation? I would say 100% that's the effect. Or it's the effect because so when the OA decided to do all the staking, right, and basically stake all its HEX almost, right, it did not change the daily payout. It changed the payout per T-share. It did not change the daily payout. The daily payout is still going up and to the right as HEX is minted and the 369 inflation is applied. The difference is that like 90% of that is going to the OA. That's the difference because they have the T-shares, right? And so it changed the payout per T-share. So yes, I kind of like joked around about this being rigged for battle. Like nobody's changing right at the moment the direction of the ship, but the OA. I don't see how anybody has the wherewithal to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no, only the OA has. It's not. just the wherewithal, the power to actually, shift those numbers massively, right? Like it would, nobody could ever catch up. There's no way to buy that much hex off the market to be able to compete with the OA and what their plan is for hex.
Yeah, 100%. And it's actually created a pretty good opportunity for believers in hex, long game, 15 years, and for the use case of hex, for those who still believe there is a use case that includes staking hex. It has created a different type of an opportunity that is 90% belief at this point, right, or more, because you really have to believe that good things can happen in the future, because can't see the yield on a day-by-day basis going up the way it used to, et cetera, et cetera. And
Yep.
so now you just have to believe long term that's good. But I think one of the things I brought up this week a couple times in different venues, that not everybody understands things, right? The rate at which T-shares become more expensive is still being driven by old rewards and yield, right? So we have these older stakes, they're still out there, they haven't been ended yet.
Right.
They received a much higher rate of reward. And so when they are actually ended, they will increase the T-share rate based on that power of that stake. Meanwhile, the new people that are staking, particularly if they're short, they have nowhere near the yield power, which means that the rate will be going up faster than they could ever keep up with new stakes. And you cannot keep up anyways, regardless. But a very, very rare case anybody actually can keep up. And so at this point, yeah, I mean, T-shares has just become more rare over time, and that creates a different type of an opportunity. Like I said, you go back to a 15-year cycle, it'll be a different type of thing, right?
So with
Where
that in mind, what's the play?
um, it depends on how somebody set themselves up. If they've been fully into hex and they've done Quattro Cinco ladder, and then they've already been in
Mhm.
for a while, right? It'd be different for every case. They already have stakes that are coming out. And so they have stakes that are coming out. They have hex. They take that hex. They can do what they want with it, scrape some of it, split it, or whatever, and go out 15 years with it, right? So to maintain the ladder, they can continue to do that, and they'll continue to get that exposure out beyond, like Tam says, out beyond where the OA staked. Because, but but people aren't really doing that. I mean, some people are. I just did something yesterday where I pulled up the data from last month. About 100 or so addresses did Quattro Cincos in the last month. So it's a very low number. It's not significant in comparison to other things. So you're basically seeing this clearing out of the stakes, the long stakes, and the clearing out of the T-shares, but it's over such a time frame that most of us can't in our brains get our heads around it. And so about the time you might figure out it was a good idea to do a Quattro Cinco in 2025 will probably be something like 2027 or 2028. And of course, you won't be able to go back in time. Right.
Right.
And it might even be as late as 29 or 30. And then all of a sudden it'll click, and that'll create a different type of a FOMO.
Yeah, T-shirt FOMO. It will be real.
All right. Eddie's asking about NDAs. I'm not actually sure there are NDAs. I heard you guys joking about it, but I took it as a joke for the marketing stuff. Or there could be NDAs. But you might,
Right
but
there.
if you signed an NDA, you might not be able to sign the NDA.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
You can't even confirm it. All right. Next.
Yeah, I think I could confirm probably if there's an NDA. It depends if it says in the NDA you can't talk about this NDA. Then you couldn't.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, yeah. And then Eddie's asking about cigars. I do not know, Eddie. We took the stand with the cigar show that all three of us would would be there or we wouldn't do the show. And so that we haven't done the show for a couple of weeks. So hopefully this week, I don't know what's happening with RG or anything else.
I think he's pretty busy probably. Like he's at the factory that they're calling the Beehive or something like that. And they probably have him moving boxes and putting stickers on stuff. I don't think that work is gonna end anytime soon.
Okay. Well, we'll see what he says. Johnny Chaos is referring to two happenings back to back. NJ Dubs Streets are saying there's a pump tires front end issue. I haven't heard about there being a pump tires front end issue. You hear anything about that?
They're not. Let me take a look. Pumped up tires. Well, it's loaded on my screen just now, so I do not see an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. NJ Dub. We don't know.
Try turning on a VPN, man. That fixes a lot of stuff. You should probably be using one anyway.
I see Frank out there. He's been busy. Frank White. I've been seeing him all over the place.
Bang bang hex gang, Frank White.
Oh yeah. RH Max at Ivan's Discounted Sarcasm Shop. Got it. Yeah, he's talking about where can you find an itch and sketch from that. Ivan, you're so funny.
Ivan's pretty funny.
Yeah, Gandalf. I'm not as bearish as you, but yeah, I agree with you. Analyzing the hell out of stuff won't do a whole lot. I mean, it always comes down to buying, right? People either more people got to buy than sell. All right.
Yep.
And J.A. Soul is looking. Well, I'm assuming he means he's a single white male seeking a nice girl with a paid-off cargo van. How about that?
It's good to have standards. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, pretty good. Whew. So you've been traveling around, got some miles on you.
Oh yeah, I've been to California and back in the last week or so, and that was kind of intense. I ended up accidentally spending one night in the Vancouver airport because my flight got bumped and I came in late, couldn't catch the next flight. And there was literally 0 hotels in the city of Vancouver at that time because they had forest fires, they evacuated a bunch of people, and it's tourist season there. So there's literally, like, on Expedia, which is my regular go-to, there was like 0 hotels. And on any other like fringy site, they were like 20 grand a night. So I just built myself a little fort in the airport, and it was great.
Yeah, it's always nice. I've been lucky. I've only had to do that a couple times with the travel. You made it down to the LA area then? No trouble.
It was in the Los Angeles area.
Good. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right. I mean, I know we've been talking nonstop about all this marketing stuff the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, really. Do you have anything new? If you guys have questions about that, drop them in. We'll see if we can cover something. I don't know that we have anything new.
But I think the big question is going to be, like, when do they go out and how many go out, and will it be continuous? Like, is he going to be sending these out for 2 years, 6 months, 3 months? Like, what's the timeline? We don't really have all those answers, but I think it's implied that there's going to be 10 million plus pieces from things Richard said. And I think just the logistics of getting 10 million pieces out means it's going to take a year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I mean, maybe it won't take that long, but that's a lot of stuff that's got to get mailed out there. And I know that they're working on solutions and how to do this, and it's a really it feels like a learn on the job type of thing.
Some of it, I imagine, but like just the sheer physical quantity of products, right? Like 10 million pieces is 50 containers. Right? Like it's ridiculous. It's a football field full of Richard Hart themed etch a sketches. It's it's an impressive amount of material.
Itch and sketch,
It's in
right?
sketches, yeah.
So yeah, very interesting there. Yeah. So Eddie, well, Frank was saying, hey, listen, one way you can get exposed to old T shares is buying underpriced Maximus tokens. Yep, just watch the slippage if you're buying those. Try to keep it below 5%, and be prepared to hold to the end. Whether you're looking at
Yep.
Maximus or Decimus, right? That's just my
Yeah.
opinion, not financial advice. But yeah, you can get those a little bit cheaper. I've seen this quote a couple times about Boogie Bash in California, Disneyland. I actually don't know what Boogie Bash is. I could probably look that up.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't know, Eddie. I don't know how the whole volunteer thing's working, but one step is to go to the filter email. I assume that's public, right? You go to the filter email chat, and you can ask there and see what's going on. So you can do that.
Yep. Yeah, that's where it's at. Let me find that. Maybe you could drop it in chat.
Yeah. Now I thought about, like you went out to visit. I've been out to that area plenty of times, over the years. But I thought about going out there. But it's if they need help for volunteering, probably a whole bunch of people flying in to go help with that isn't the right solution. I think there might be economically some different ways to handle it. Well, it'd be a nice trip, and I do like the cigar bars out there, and I like California in general.
Yep.
Economically, there's probably some better solutions than that. But I think the visibility is great in that, hey, look, a whole bunch of us are willing to volunteer our time, right, to do things like that.
And I think there'll be more things that come from that, centralized grouping of Hexkins volunteering will probably yield more ideas, more concepts, and maybe more content in somewhat one way or another. So it's worth, I think it could be worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
I think your best use of time is streaming. That's the best thing that you can do for the community.
I don't know about
One of the
that.
best things. Yeah,
I don't know.
you do pretty good on the streams. I think it gives people confidence to see you on the regular.
Let me throw this in the chat. Yeah, I've been having fun with my. I got a couple different things that I'm doing. I copied this link and put it out in the comments. I've been having fun with this story writing, stuff. So people sending me, different stories that I'm getting posted onto CFY Crypto Stories. I've been doing that. And it's kind of like that'll be a slow burn. That's like a long time thing to do. The other thing I did kick off TikTok this week to start doing shorts, that I can put up between Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Actually, you got pretty decent response rates on those. All using HexFire.io. Yeah.
Nice. And did you make a new account, or did you already have that set up before? Like I really don't know about these things.
I faded those things. I didn't have Instagram. I'm not a boomer, but I'm like flying on a plane and talking to the woman next to me. He's like, "Do you have an Instagram?" And I'm like, "Duh, what's Instagram?" That's kind of like, now I know what it is. I see it. I use it. There's plenty of near porn on that.
I'm with you.
Right? So
it's not always. I don't want to learn new stuff every day. I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. Like figure out how TikTok works.
Oh man, for each to sign up for either of these, it was like literally you do less than a minute and have your account set up. Like boom, you're just like set up in there. Is it like full influencer? Nah, but I mean you can get there pretty quick.
But then you do have to add content. Like it's not zero work. Right, unless there's just a button that says import my content from Twitter and YouTube, please.
No, there's some work, but I mean, but if you're doing shorts, like for instance already, and I've only done some of them. I did a lot of the older RH shorts, and had them out there. But you do a new short, just make sure it's in the right format. You already got your descriptive stuff down how you want it, and then it's just copy paste. Boom into
Okay.
YouTube, boom into Instagram, boom into TikTok, and off you go. Um, but I haven't done. I have to do the work though, like you said, right? Like meaning, yeah, you got to go like and follow other people. You got to do messaging and all this other stuff, and get people out there to go do it. Um, let's see what else we got here. So Jay Soul says you didn't shave today. I didn't shave either. I did a little bit, but I think he's actually referring to you. I had to go to my man beauty shop this week. Get my beard shaved. Let's see. Hey, Fast, would it be cool to have liquid loans, Earn, Flex, and Ink Predator all on one site, all in one location to use RH assets as collateral? A new UI would be nice. Yeah, it might be a reasonable idea. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and it
Collaboration
could be
wise.
done.
Yeah.
Like as you have verified code on all those things, like a third party could do that. Um, it wouldn't be no work, right? Like it would be somewhat difficult to make sure you're pulling all the data. Um, but yeah, I like the idea. I think it's an interesting concept.
Mm. Yeah, I do. I like the idea as well, but I think what you're going to end up with though is that's not going to happen, right? Because there's just too much. I think it's too much to try to cross all those. But hey, maybe somebody will
Yeah.
do it.
You have
Right?
three
At
teams, right? Like, it's it three teams, like three groups of egos. It might be hard to get agreement on the details. I think if it's gonna happen, it would be a third party that would come in and like somebody who understood the code, understood the contracts were verified, and that they could pull that data, and you could literally set that up without being affiliated with the teams. So now, whether that was a trusted source and so on and so forth, you're opening yourself up to different levels of risk. But if it was a trusted source and they did have the expertise, then like that would be a thing.
yeah. Let's say. Yeah, I think you could. I think you could do that. I think what you're going to see is more, probably more along reference sites than anything else.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of funny. I don't know that there's any way if there's any like there here or here there or but you can see somebody try to insert themselves as a 1% fee protocol or something in
well, that's
between.
that's totally a
And
thing on Ethereum, right? Like
yeah, to tax.
Liquidity,
Yeah.
the original has no front end. It's all third party front ends only,
Oh, is that how it is?
yeah, they have no official front end. And I think they did that to insulate themselves by like, oh, we provided code, but we didn't provide a front end, for some quasi legal reason perhaps. But um, that's how they set it up. And then there are front ends that offer zero fees, right? And then there's fancier front ends that do charge a fee. And that's one thing that's kind of built into the code, is that could be an option, that people would put up a different front end that charged the fee. So, and I've noticed that people mostly don't like to work for free. So maybe that could be a thing. And some of those front ends have extra features, right? Like auto compounders of this or that, or things that monitor or alert you at certain points in time. So, so that you're motivated to use the fancier, more expensive front end. So, could somebody do that? Like, for sure. And I think as these protocols build, it could be profitable. We've seen that with the farming, right? Like there's the farming wizard that the Hocus Pocus team made, that shows the majority of the farms on PulseChain all in one place. They don't charge a fee. It's just a front end where you can actually add the liquidity, remove the liquidity, um, to all these different farming apparatuses, including 2Fox, PulseX, 9-inch, et cetera, et cetera. And they charge no fee that they take for themselves for using their front end for their farm aggregator. So could somebody make a liquidity fork aggregator? Yeah, you could make one that covered every liquidity fork ever if you wanted to. It'd be a lot of work though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I bet it would be. Well, and I didn't. That's a good piece of trivia. I didn't realize that there was no front end on Ethereum. That it was all third party.
Yep, that's how they roll. They're pretty
Interesting.
decentralized, generally speaking. Like the original Liquidity team, um, but they do have some gatekeeping going on. Like there's a reason that we did these forks on PulseChain and that the original Liquidity team didn't come over and do them. I think they're Ethereum bros. I don't think I don't think they're pro Richard Hart.
Maybe that'll change. Always look on the bright side. You know,
Yep,
maybe they'll be coming in and
that'd be
see
cool.
what's up. And Jay Soul says it's one of the most forked projects.
It is. Yeah, there's about 40.
Wow.
And of the 40 or so that are listed on DeFi Llama, there's probably more than 40, but there's about 40 listed on DeFi Llama. PulseChain has 4 of the top 5 liquidity forks by total value locked.
Oh, damn. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
And we have 4 liquidity forks. So they're all our liquidity forks are in the top 10 and in the top 5. So I think that, it speaks well to the value of PulseChain and the kind of people that are on PulseChain that understand DeFi.
Very good. Very good. Well,
I think there's other stuff that's worked more, but not
that's
many.
something to be proud of. Right?
Yeah, too bad.
I'm proud of you guys. I like that we have the different things. There's a lot of tools that are out there.
Yep.
At this point, things I certainly did not envision. Other people were smart enough to envision, but I wasn't. We just you got to see it where it comes in and gets to work.
For sure, there'll be more coming too. Like mostly, we have like all the good stuff from Ethereum is here, right? With a couple exceptions. Does anybody have a wish list of what you'd like to see next on PulseChain?
Oh, how I made is asking you a question. Does Ink Printer have backup IPFS interplanetary file system like Richard Hart stuff?
Not at the moment. Probably something I'll run up eventually. It does have a backup in that you can use it via the Block Explorer.
Gotcha. Definitely can do that. That's a skill set to learn, isn't it? Just by itself. Using the Block Explorer for it.
It's not that hard, right?
It's not hard. It's not hard. No. But I mean, you got to know to go do it. You need a good set of instructions, so you know what's required to do everything.
If the labeling on things from the devs is clear enough, right? On this is what this is what you need to fill in the box, then that's that's cool. But Johnny wants matcha.
Johnny Chaos is giving out alpha. Fork the matcha. Why would we fork matcha? Why?
What is matcha is like a DEX aggregator, right? Like multi-chain DEX aggregator.
With limit orders or no limit orders?
Aggregators. Do they have limit orders? I can't remember. I haven't used them for a while.
That would be a good question.
We do need limit orders. I'm not sure. I feel like.
Oh yeah, Johnny says limit orders are on there.
Okay.
It's just been that long since I've seen it. All right. Johnny says limit orders. Hex Chris. Welcome, Hex Chris. Let's look and see. Crispy and fast. Yes, we are both crispy and fast. I joined late. Did I hear 10 million pieces correctly? I can't confirm that. I've heard people throwing numbers around. But the confirmation I have is the 400,000 from Richard Hart posted about. And I say it that way because it might be likely that there's going to be more of them. But remember, at any time, the strategy could shift around a little bit and be a little bit different. So, but there you go. Yeah, and there's some crazy numbers with the number of pieces that are out there. Even with the 400,000, I'm thinking that's got a reach of 800,000 people, 2 people per household. and they're going to tell 2 friends and so on and so forth. So I probably got a million person reach just from the 2 containers once I get out. And if you use like a 4.5%, I know a lot of people are moon mathing this stuff already, but 4.5% on a million is something like 45,000 people potentially would take action on something like that. And at
Good number.
$1,000 per person, that's like a 45 million potential increase in TVL just from 2, you know. And then one of the things we've been talking, because now a lot of the nerds are talking too, right? Because everybody wants to calculate, what the potential is. And if if any amount of money comes in, its effect is not just, so let's say it's 50 million. It's not just that 50 million showed up on chain. Yeah, sure, initially it shows up as value 50 million, but those folks would then take that value, and you would expect they're probably going to swap into something else, right? And so it creates more volume. The velocity of money is going up. It's going to change ratios. Something gets popular. Let's say they're going to chase the pump tires. I don't know what people would do. I don't know what they'd be doing when they come exactly, but they're going to chase some token that they like, and then suddenly, you had to use the constant product formula to figure out what's going to happen to those, right? And and all of a sudden those prices are mooning based on people, rotating the fresh capital in. But cool story,
either
bro.
way, no matter what they buy, it's going to burn PulseX, chances are, and they're going to create traffic.
Oh, it's going to burn PulseX, buddy. There isn't. I'm going to go out on a limb. There might be one out there you can find, but generally, everything is at least tied somewhere to Pulse.
Mostly, yeah. Even if if you're using Pitius and you're buying, let's say, something on the Flux exchange, which doesn't burn PulseX, it's a different exchange, just like 9inch is a different exchange. There's a good chance somewhere in that trade on that DEX aggregator, it's rooting through PulseX for part of the deal, right? Yeah. So it's
well, even if it doesn't route, it creates a state where there are bots may route later. Sometimes these missed connections, they kind of build up entropy, and that there's a little bit of a mismatch, and then they'll see them fire off later when somebody figures out they can buy something cheap on one chain, or excuse me, on one DEX, and sell it on another, for more value. Because a lot of those are bots. They just care about making a profit. They don't care about how big or small it is. They'll do either. They'll take all your money or some of it. not super discretionary in that way. No
matter what, like if people came onto the chain, they're bringing total value locked, right? And it would make the chain look more impressive, even if $45 million just came on and sat there and did nothing in stablecoins. It would still look impressive. So I think I'm bullish on the concept.
Be big like bull, right? Strong like bull. We'll see. I don't know. This, numbers wise, the marketing makes a lot of sense. As we talked about before, it doesn't really matter about the item itself because the item can be changed. The methodology is huge. I saw a lot of people, being negative and stuff about the item, but it could, like I said, could be something different, and it's not for you anyways, right? I mean, you want to maybe. You want to show off with it, that's good. But I mean, as far as who it's going to other people to entice them to come look, not to me, Not coming to me. I haven't seen one yet. I thought I'd be on the list somewhere, but I'm nowhere on anybody's list. Hey, did any of them actually get shipped yet? Do we know?
I don't think so. Okay, I don't think they're in the mail quite yet, or maybe they could be, but they're probably not at people's doorsteps quite yet. So I think but we could be in like a matter of days scenario now, right? Like could be less than a week. People will be opening their mail and finding this, interesting gadget. So it'll probably take a couple days to wind up, but like I think we'll start seeing people posting, asking questions, you know, being angry, being happy, all the things.
Don't send me mail. Get off my lawn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just don't get mad at the mail people. Don't get mad at them, right, for delivering stuff. Yeah. And so we already mentioned that Tam is doing her little effort, right, to get people a place to land on Twitter for these Twitter Spaces. Shout out to the Prairie Banana kicking off a similar effort in YouTube Space. We give people a place to come land on YouTube to kind of get them directed to the right places. And guys, everybody stay vigilant. I'd ask scammers not to scam, but I mean, that's probably useless
Barely
methodology.
works. Yeah.
But you start seeing weird stuff and new people, mention it always in public and try to at least get good information out to people,
Yep.
kind of head off the
General
scams.
rule, like that's usually true, is like founders, admins, etc., will not send you a private message, right? First, like maybe if you can message them and you make sure you're talking to the right person because you go to their account and if it's open and you can message them, maybe you could ask a question directly. But it's very rare that they would message you first. Like Richard Hart will never DM you and ask for your seed phrase. That's never ever going to happen. That's a scammer. So, and like I know it sounds elementary to most of you, but like as the money gets bigger, the scammers will get better, and they'll start being more convincing with their special limited time opportunities or how they can help you if you validate your wallet or some other bullshit. It's typically not real, and err on the side of safety. Like if it's like if you think Crispy or Fast Abdul is DMing you, but you're not sure, then do not proceed. All right, like we are not DMing you, and it's probably a scam. And if you're not sure, then assume it's a scam. Like it's going to be a risky time.
Yeah,
Guard your bags.
I ain't talking to nobody. Scammers don't even talk to me now. So
Yeah, it's
like,
probably too stressful for them.
yeah, well, it's because I don't participate, right? So why bother to do that? I do see some fake Crispy show up every once in a while.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But,
Telegram is full of fake Fast Abduls, banning them all the time.
it's like a multiverse. You getting to fight them off, right?
Yeah. There was a fake Liberty Swap Telegram room, and Liberty Swap doesn't have a Telegram room. They have like a Telegram like help bot thing that you can access from their website, like with the link to they had no like chatting Telegram room. And this room popped up, and it was like all the names of all the admins were like I was there. I think like I don't know, maybe Johnny Chaos was there, Somi was there. It was like all of these names that a lot of people would recognize, and none of them were real, of course, right? It was all fake. And so that like if it doesn't seem realistic that like Fast Abdul, Somi, Crispy, and Richard Hart are running a Telegram room together, that's probably because that's a fake Telegram.
I had Richard contact me a couple weeks ago.
Well, that's
fake,
nice.
Fake Richard.
Are you sure?
Like, I'm pretty sure it's fake. I know, some weird other username that didn't even say Richard Hart. But,
what advice did he give you?
It's always it's always the initial kind of hook. Do you like HEX?
Oh.
I mean, what the hell am I going to answer? I'm not going to answer that, but yeah. And we were talking about the admins earlier. We constantly are reporting, these other telegrams that are out there that are just, phishing telegrams. And it's hard because then you go there, you can see the people joined.
Yep.
And, they're in there and, there might be people that and so there's always, that's one of the times I do think we've seen DMs, from like admins and stuff over to people because they're like, hey, you're in a bad place. Don't go, get out of there because it's not real,
I found that too. And what I do is I'll look at that person's profile on Telegram and be like, what rooms do I have in common with them? And I'll message them publicly in another room and be like, hey, Bob, I can tell you're in a fake 2Fucks room. Get out, man. But I think one thing that's good to get out there is your Telegram security options. One of the things that we should all turn on, and I have this turned off on some of my, like alt accounts just for testing to see what fake rooms I get added into. But there's an option to turn it on so that no one can add you to a room, right? Because the default is that other people can add you to a Telegram room. So you find yourself in a Hex Telegram room that's not the real one, and somebody just added you. They find your profile, they find whatever in it that they think, well, they'll just go through other Telegram rooms and be like, oh, this is a PulseChain Telegram room. I'm going to add all these people to my fake room. So change the setting so that no one can add you to a room. It's almost never going to be a bad thing.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, I see Jay Souls giving out the advice: ignore van job offers via SMS. Yeah.
Job offers from guys in vans, or
Well, I think I don't know. I don't know what the van is. I get a lot of those, man. I get not job offers. Well, I do get some of those, but I get a lot. I get a lot of these. Oh, I was trying to reach female so and so. Are you not her? No. Oh, I don't answer these anymore because I figured it out, right? But and be like, oh, well, I have this jewelry order. I'm an importer in San Francisco, and I have this very expensive jewelry, and now I'm stuck with it. I presume the idea is I'm supposed to jump at getting the jewelry and pay the cheap price, but either I never get it or it's not real, and blah 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 blah. Right. But
yeah,
I mean, I got that a couple times, a couple years ago now that I got it. And I actually wrote the person back. Haven't we talked before? Because this is the same scam. It's the same scam. Because everybody's trying to. Yeah. Johnny Chaos says don't use it. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, diehard Hexagon, maybe it means nobody would ever DM you. I don't know. All right, offers to drive vans. Yeah. Not mystery shoppers either. Pip Shinobi, I am here for the tech. And I think Jay Soul's talking about the 10 million or 100,000 per year. Oh yeah, for getting paid.
Not bad.
For the van. That's good. That's good money driving a van. Actually, well, actually, it might not be good money. Depends on how many hours. But
depends if you're talking American dollars, Canadian dollars. Meh.
Well, you guys and your loonies. Indeed. All right, guys. Does anybody have anything they want us to talk about? Drop it in the chat before we wrap up, and we'll close out. I know Fast is dragging ass. This is my 4th stream today, so I'm a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little tired, eh?
Yeah.
List them off. What streams did you do today?
What did I do?
So
first. Oh wait, I was with you. All right.
Yeah, the first one, or my first one.
And then I went to. Seven. Me and Seven were streaming. We did that. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I was drained, man. I was sick by the end of that. Not because of him. I was just like sick and not feeling well. But finished that one up, and then we're doing this one, and then before this, I did the mastermind.
Well, right. Okay. I've been missing that mastermind one just because there's so many streams back to back. I was on with Tam Tam on her space. It's hard. Tuesday is a tough day for me for time.
Yeah. Tuesday has ended up being a busy day for me on the week. Eddie's asking, what do you guys think the future of farming on PulseChain and PulseX is? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think actually, we just look at what it is. What it is right now is farming on PulseX is being used to incentivize, primarily right now, LP with stables and Pulse. Right, keep them a little bit sticky. And last I checked, I don't have it up right now. It was like 12% or something, right? APR 10-12%, which is pretty good in stable territory, but you're running the risk, of course, of impermanent loss. So if you have in Pulse, if you have a ton of Pulse and you're okay with the impermanent loss, it's a real good deal to earn ink, something that isn't being given out. Now, beyond that, hard for me to even guess what the strategy is. I mean,
I think that impermanent losses that you're hitting on that's the main thing that people need to understand if you're farming right now. And maybe we won't go into detail on this show. If you don't know what impermanent loss is and you're farming on PulseChain or anywhere else, you need to learn. It's a very important part going into this
yeah,
bull market. You want things that are correlated with each other very closely, or it'll cost you. Unless like unless you're exiting a position and you're doing it in that way. There's lots of strategies, but yeah, learn about impermanent loss. But let's not do a deep dive today.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll try not to go too hard on that, but essentially, if if Pulse went up in kind of like a linear fashion,
Yep.
and you've got a pair with a stable coin, you will only experience probably about half of the increase in value.
Yeah.
Roughly,
And
you can actually go drop
you'll
this in
end up with more
calculators.
stable coins. Like you're basically selling as pulse goes up.
Yeah, you basically sell on the way up, and
Yeah.
that can be very painful. But it's also a strategy that people use, right? Like
Sure.
this is why I said this is why I mentioned if you have so much pulse that doesn't matter to you, then putting it in is a way to automatically sell on the way up. Now, the thing is you got to have both sides, which is again another type of barrier to entry for people. Because I often say this, it's not easy and it's not fast to exit through liquidity. Yes, there are times where people can do things with V3, and yeah, if you're talking about $100, you can move pretty quickly. But if you're trying to take, because a lot of people would say, well, smart whales, they would be taking it with liquidity. Well, yeah, guys, come on. I mean, yeah, I get you. I get that could be the case. But if a smart whale has $1 million, $2 million worth of a token that they're trying to exit out of, really the advice to put up a sell wall. And it has to be such a short sell wall that it might take months to get through, right? Which is not fast. And so there's challenges, particularly in a very volatile market, maybe when you're getting towards the end. It's not like you're going to get almost to the top and be, I'm going to put a V3 in and maybe the market will keep going. It may reverse on you. You end up with the token, right? You
Yeah.
never get out at all. That's one aspect of it. There's some different things you can do. And then if you're trying to do it V2, you got to have both sides. Try to exit with I'd like this to be a problem that I have to deal with, but try to exit out with 100,000 of a token. Well, okay, so what do you need to put the 100,000 up into V2? Well, you got to do 100,000 worth of DAI. I probably, if I had $100,000 worth of DAI, I probably don't need to sell the token in my world, right? So so you got to come up with these rather large numbers to get out. And so a lot of things kind of like meander their way towards, yeah, people just say F it, push a button, I'm done. Out, I'm out. And of course that's when you start seeing the bigger changes in prices, right, going down or
So
eating up
but like
the pumps. But,
there's probably a mix of these things, like to have a plan, right? To be like, okay, I want to start exiting at this point. Like that's where you could roll in your liquidity exit strategies. I'm going to do with some by V2. I'm going to do some by V3. I'm going to do some by market selling, and you can, that's something where if you had a plan, you could move out millions of dollars over the course of several months without destroying the charts and getting more than if just press sell on a big bag and suffer 30% slippage, right?
yeah, yeah,
There's nothing worse than selling something like you sell too much, you make a big red candle, and then you watch the chart just get eaten back up, and then perhaps surpass your red candle with a green candle, right?
mm.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen it too. I'm just thinking about a current situation. Shout out to Jay Soul for the super sticker.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
for that, bud. There's a token out there called TFC, the Fitzgerald Company, and they've been struggling this last week or two because of within the group, and how they're handling things, and so I guess maybe spook some people. So there's a big sell off on it, but it had a really big run up. But one of the things that came to mind as I went to look, I was like, oh look, somebody put up V3. It's a mega sell wall. Like somebody wants their whole, but it's not mega, but I mean it's it's like a 15-20K sell wall right above the price. So it's not
And
going
when
to
we
go
say sell
anywhere
wall, like,
soon.
do we mean like a 1% range sell wall?
Yeah, well, I think it's more ticks than that. I think it was probably like over 10 ticks or something. They probably go do it. But I mean, that's an example of somebody's like, well, I think I'm done. I want to get out. I don't want to hurt the price anymore. It could be a strategy that they want to trap the price, but
Mm,
the
I've seen that chart. That
but
wouldn't be
it's
my
but it
strategy.
but that kind of a large bullet prevents the price from going up.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, sometimes what'll happen is price will just bounce off of it and just not, because you take it to
You
come
can
in
put up a
with
wider range, right? Like you can put a V3 single sided in a 300% range. So like the price could triple inside your liquidity, right?
yeah.
And you're providing some support on the daily for it bouncing up and down when you do that. And I find that that's a more viable plan than making a single line. As soon as it hits 39 cents, that's my sell wall. Go
Mhm.
from 39 cents to $1, right? In that range. And like maybe it doesn't go to $1, maybe it goes to 63 cents. But that means when you sold some at 63 cents, not just at 39 cents.
Mm, mm, yeah.
Takes more work, but like,
Yeah.
have a plan.
It's not easy and it's not fast. Fast.
Yep, that's true.
Not easy. That's fast. Hey, a comment here from Eddie about rates going up on PulseX. I think they'll be adjusted as needed. I don't know what'll happen. At some point, they'll be adjusted upwards, maybe. But it all depends on on what the plan is, right? And I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if to expect more inflation from Inc. or not at this point.
Yeah.
But it would seem like yeah, at this juncture, not a whole lot more, right? So I
I
don't
don't
know.
think inflation's going to go up
I
soon.
don't know.
I think it might go up at the top of the bull
Mhm.
market.
Yeah, but now I say that with the rates, right? Because Eddie mentioned rates.
Mhm.
But keep in mind the rate is calculated on dollar price, not on numbers of tokens. And so, yeah, I mean, with a 10x of, and I think Chaos has talked about this. Maybe somebody else has talked. Maybe you talked about it. A 10x of ink price would effectively be a 10x of APR. Well, maybe depending which pair it is, but it would be a much higher APR. I see
Much,
vets
much
out
better.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could leave tokens in for 50 years or for a lifetime. And not deal with permanent loss. You could actually, for some people who did the farming, PulseX, it worked out pretty good.
Oh, totally. I think it's diminishing returns on most of those, though. Like if it's paying 0.39% at the moment on whatever your Pulse X to Pulse pair, like it's not nothing. But those are V1 farms, meaning that on PulseX, meaning that you're not getting the fees, you're just getting the ink. And some days I suspect the fees would be better, that you might be better paying not earning ink and making V2 transaction fees on PulseX, or some other, fee earning mechanism like on Fox or 9mm, for example, where you could set a V3 range of 1% and be making 1%. Yeah, it's just lots of games to play there.
Yeah,
DYOR.
yeah. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of dead capital pools on PulseChain. It's kind of bullish in one way because those pools basically represent pulse that's not really in circulation. unless there was like some sort of a condition that would require them to be in circulation. But the other side of the token in this case is that they're very low paying, right? And so you essentially drain value over time through fees and arbs, and it's not a good situation. I mean, there's some strategic reasons to keep LPs up at times, but in general, yeah, not always a great situation. Um, Doug, I think we can all say the same. I'm tired of being poor. When am I going to be rich? Tired of waiting. Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah. I can sympathize with that. Vets in crypto, absolutely. Everybody needs to develop and have their own exit strategies plan accordingly. Yes, I think that way. But yeah, people should have a plan, and 100% agree that it's not easy being a founder of a token and try to support a token, and that you learn from experience. That's for sure. Yeah, not dissing on being a founder, but essentially the idea, the way value gets transferred, guys, and it's not pretty, and then people get pissed about it when you talk about it like this, but some people buy high and other people buy low, right? And sometimes they sell at the right times, and sometimes they don't. And then you're like, oh, well, that's how it is, right? So that's how the value gets transferred. And Richard's done a couple streams in the past where he talked about it in some detail. Not a hard concept. You probably don't need to watch his stream to figure this out. But essentially, it's that trading of value. And so, yeah, if a founder, the only way for a crypto to be supported is the founder has to be doing something in some way. And of course, that's why we have the story of X, right? And Benny Blanco from the Bronx saying, there's a thing called HEX, and it's a better Bitcoin. So that was Richard's answer to how to help fix things, right? With crypto, longer term. Is also saying focus buy pressure if you want to speed this up. I'm assuming he means the run of the bull. Our power as a cult is divided. We never was running around doing 20 different things. 100%, dude, on that. I mean, you can see it, but I think the horse is out of the barn on that one. Like there's not going to be one single focus, but there could be a focus on HEX, which is kind of like what you were talking about, consolidating. And even the things we love, Benny, these little side play stuff that we might be involved in, they're all taken up.
Yeah. Art's law. Lots of things are going to move up together, right?
Yeah. So, and the little side plays, they'll go up, but they're also taking a little bit of that, that energy out of the system, right? And Benny's saying HEX is the future, with or without you. These are all things I agree with, so I don't mind showing them, Benny. And just trying to help whoever's viewing this, help you out. Yeah. And I guess here we go. I'm on the 2 train headed north. That's from Jay Asel. All right. Well, looks like we got. Yeah, I think we got to the end of the comments. The train is leaving the station. If you believe. Do you have your seat?
Woo.
All right, buddy. All right, we got this. I missed you last week because I was like a total dud. Like I couldn't.
You went live anyway. I didn't even have time to look on that particular day.
Yeah, I was like slack jaw drooling. I'm just like, but
thanks. Thanks for having me back. I was scared you'd be like, oh, you missed one. You're off now. It's done.
Nah, you're back. Beautiful hat. All right, I got to go help my boomer wife turn the TV on, and with that, we'll stay crispy. Like she's not really boomer, but that'll make her mad enough to hit me later. No DV, no DV. All right, but DV is domestic violence. All right, guys, everybody stay crispy out there. You know how to find us, Hexfire.io, or you can chase this guy down on the PHUX. 2PX, that is.
2PX.
And on the X.
Or Fast Abdul on Twitter.
Fast
Only
Abdul.
for a good time.
Yeah. Or the tech. Or the tech.
Yeah, or for the tech.
All right, friends. You guys have a great night. And we'll be back with more information next week, I'm sure. Maybe even
We
tomorrow.
will. Might even
Yeah.
take a shower.
Or shave.